سلام و درود فراوان خدمت شما زیبارویان. امیدوارم که حالتون خوب باشه. من امین هستم و خوش اومدید به ویدیو جدید. ویدیو امروز الن ویک، داستان الن ویک رو داریم که فکر کنم طبق چیزی که اینجا نوشته فلش بک های الن ویک یکه که خود فورتنایت فکر کنم ساخته و آورده توی کریتیوش. خواهیم بریم ببینیم که چجوریه. یه تریلر کوتاه ازش دیده بودم، خوشم اومد، گفتم ببینیم چجوریه، خوب در آوردن نیاوردن، داستانش چیه. بس بدون معطلی بریم سراغش. اوه شروع شد. نور دوستمون.
In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be
این
one.
صدا عشق.
The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake,
عشق های الن ویک.
and 13 years ago, I found myself in a horror story of my own making.
همین الن ویک کجا باید برم؟ اینجا خونه شده.
I used to live in New York City with my wife Alice. I wrote crime novels starring a fictional detective named Alex Casey. It made me famous. But then I killed off Casey.
من دیوونه سم لیکم، واقعا دوستش دارم. اصلا دیوونه سم لیکم. سم لیک اصلا محشره، فوق‌العاده است. انقدر که این مرد کارش درسته. داستانی که نوشته الکس کیسی و فکر میکنم الکس کیسی همون تقریبا مکس پین باشه، ولی چون راکستار اون موقع از رمدی چیزو گرفت، مال مکس پین رو گرفت، نمیتونن از اسمش استفاده کنن. فکر میکنم که سملیک میخواست اونم وارد مثلا یونیورسش کنه، چون یه یونیورس درست کرده سملیک تقریبا. درست کرده تقریبا، نه دنیای بازی کنترل و الن ویک و
Something new, but nothing works. I can't take it.
Alan, you've been working on this for over 2 years. You need a break. I heard about this peaceful little town. It'll be the perfect place to clear your head.
So Alice convinced me to visit Bright Falls, a small, quiet town in Washington. Just what I needed. First, we stopped at the local diner to get our cabin key from the landlord.
تازه وارد برایت فالز شد. اصلا نمیدی نه؟
As soon as I stepped in the door, the waitress Rose recognized me. Said she was my biggest fan, had all my books. After she made me
این
promise her an
چیزاش هم
autograph,
گذاشتن اینا رو.
I asked about the landlord.
Jesus.
Rose said he must have gone to the restroom.
این خانم ترسناکی این تهه یادمه، اینجا و دست چپ. الان اینجا میاد اونو کلیدو بهمون میده. من خیلی دوست دارم چیزو داشته باشم، کلا دوست دارم دنیایی که یونیورس سملیک رو دوست دارم مثلا داشته باشم تو کانالم. احتمالا بسازم همشو. دوست دارم یه بار دیگه الن ویک رو بازی کنم، کنترل هم بازی کنم، ویدیوشو بذارم.
She said the landlord hadn't been able to make it and handed me the cabin key. She insisted she'd come by later to check on us and to meet Alice. Alice and I drove through the majestic landscape to our cabin. The little wooden house stood alone on a tiny island near the shore of Cauldron Lake, in the bowl of an impressive caldera.
It's gorgeous, Alan.
It's something, all right.
نه
Are you
همون
sure you
میشن
read the
که
directions right?
الان ویکی که همون اولش
Nothing
هم
like in the brochure. It said near the lake, not on it.
It was a beautiful place. I told myself I could rest here, sleep here, forget about my work.
چقدر داستان بازی الان ویک قشنگه، چقدر قشنگه. من هرچی از خوبی های این بازی و سازندش بگم کم گفتم.
I'm upstairs. I have a surprise for you.
از کاموشین هست تو زاره تایپه.
Surprise.
Alice, what is this?
I guess I have a small confession to make. I thought maybe you could write here that a change of
Damn it,
scenery would
Alice,
get
you-
you past.
Everyone keeps.
Hey, just hear me out. There's a local doctor, Dr. Hartman. I read a book of his. He has a private clinic here. He
But so
specializes
now
in
you wanna
helping
get me
artists.
committed.
No, it's not like that. That's not. Alan? Alan?
Don't. Just don't. I don't want to hear it.
الان پدر سوخته حرف گوش نکردی دیگه. اومدیم اینجا
No.
When I came to, I was behind the wheel of a crash car on a
از
forest
صدوفی
road.
اینجا
I felt like I had woken up from one nightmare only to find myself in another. I remember diving in after Alice. So how was I here?
دوربین باحال داره.
The loose sheets of paper were pages from a manuscript entitled Departure. That was the name I'd planned to use for the next novel I'd never gotten started. I was named the author. I hadn't written it. I couldn't remember writing it. Departure by Alan Wake. The Taken stood before me. It was impossible to focus on it, as if it stood in a blind spot caused by a brain tumor and eye disease. I was terrified. I squeezed the flashlight like my life. I found a page of writing, but it made no sense. A fragment of some demented horror story.
باشه اصلا همون بده چیزها رو بزنیم. یارو انمیاش چی دونست چی دارم بوت. اینجا هم میمدن ترتیبمون رو میدادن یادم. آره اینجا اومدن میان سراغمون.
I realized that the shadowy figure was the character from the page
Shadow.
I just found. The Taken. A man taken over by a creature of supernatural darkness called the Dark Presence.
الان یک و دو رو خودم نتونستم پلی بدم. داستانشون تا یه جا دیدم که الان بعدا خواستم پلی بدم بتونم پلی بدم. ولی چه شاهکاریه. همون حدی که من دیدم چقدر خوب بود. سمبک 13 سال منتظر بود تا بتونه همچین چیز خفنی بهمون تحویل بده. الان یکی دو 13 سال با شماره یکیش فاصله داره. خیلی خفنه.
I would come to realize the lake does something to works of art created here. It lifts the story from the page and gives it form, turns fiction into terrible truth. The manuscript was becoming real.
صفحه چنده؟
I tried to hold on to Alice, but her form melted away. I was losing control. Dr. Hartman stood in her place. I wanted to hit him, but my arms were jelly. He smiled. It was a reassuring smile, and I hated him for it. You're a patient in my clinic. Have been for a while now.
There you go, Alan.
Hartman? I fell. What? No, you. I found myself stuck in Cauldron Lake Lodge, Dr. Hartman's clinic. He tried to convince me I was a patient of his, that I imagined everything. I knew he was lying. Soon enough, his true colors would be revealed.
It's okay, Alan. Just let go.
The pages I'd been carrying with me were gone. I needed them back. They were the key
Evil.
to understanding this mystery.
بابا پدر سعی خب یه ذره زودتر یه ذره برام تو صورت من لای درم در میاندی. خب اینجا پرششو برداشتن که نپریم.
The dark presence followed the choreography laid out to it in the manuscript, growing stronger and stronger, moving like a storm from one scene of destruction to the next. When the story reached the end it longed for, it would finally be free.
پایین چه خبری نی؟ بابا خب کاری اون نداره من ندکی دیو چی اینجا نی؟ آخ اینو بودم روشن نریم کلن کرم گشتن دارم تو همه بازی ها دارم این سوراخ سنبا رو بگردم اما چیزی جا نداریم.
I broke into Hartman's office to learn the truth. The manuscript pages were on his desk, the ones I had found and more. I confronted him, furious. He admitted he had been lying and tried to cut a deal with me. He was still trying to manipulate me, to use my writing for his own ends and to make the dark presence stronger in doing so.
پدر مادر خب من لایه درم در میمندی عزیز دلم. الان قسمت بود اینجا چی میگم داشتم به زور جا
I
میکردم.
dreamt of the night Alice went missing. Her screams rang in the stillness of the night. I saw myself
چقدر این
run
صدا
toward the
قشنگه.
cabin,
صدا
flashlight
چرا
in
اینقدر
my
قشنگه
hand.
مرد؟
I followed my past self. I was an out-of-body observer, a time traveler in a crazy dream. This was the beginning. The night Alice had disappeared. The mystery of what had happened during the missing week was about to reveal itself.
اینجا دوباره اول خونه هستیم. یه جیغداد کرد و برگشتیم خوندیم که
I found myself back at the cabin,
جاتر
just like
و
the
آلیس
manuscript
نیست.
described. It felt like I was reliving a suppressed memory, a waking nightmare. this was my chance to find out what had happened. I remembered it all now. In the dark, I'd written for days, a week, almost a complete manuscript of a novel entitled Departure. Jagger had been my editor, whispering in my ear, making sure that the unfolding story would make her more and more powerful. I thought I was saving Alice. Yes. All right. I'll fix it. I'll bring her back. Under the influence of the dark presence, I'd written a horror story, and now my own words were tearing my world apart. It was using my story to grow stronger, to spread its darkness. But somehow some part of me had been aware enough to write my own escape into the story, a way back to Cauldron Lake, to Alice.
راک. کاش مثلا یه دونه چیزم میدادن. همین که داریم مثلا تو این یه تیکه حرکت میکنیم اسلحه رو هم میدادن. مثلا دو تا هم شادو مدو هم میومدن میزدیمشون. برامش ای وای. بستم نیست خورد. چقدر مه نمیبینم. چیزی نیست اینجا. اینجا نشون نداد نور از همون محافظت میکنه.
The story I had written in the cabin had come true. Touched by the dark presence, I'd written a horror story, but the end was still missing. The story was incomplete, and the last unfinished page of the manuscript still sat in the typewriter in the cabin study. If I could get back there, if I could read the page, then I could write my own ending to this story and save Alice. Jagger was waiting for me, but I wasn't afraid. I had light on my side. I was ready. I fought Jagger with the light, shattered the darkness inside her. She was gone. But this was a horror story, and the ending had not yet been written. There'd be a price to pay.
پلیس برگشت.
There's light and there's darkness, cause and effect. There's guilt and there's atonement. But the scales always need to balance. Everything has a price.
همه چیه پرایسی داره هزینه داره
Alice was safe, but the balance had to be kept. I'd taken her place, a small price to pay. Now I was trapped here, in the dark place, outside reality.
شاید تو مرد شریفی هستی دوست بهت
If I wanted to escape, I would have to start writing again. A new story, a sequel to Departure. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. Return by Alan Wake.
بازگشت
The dark presence is out there.
الان ویک دو
Its spies are always watching. It's trying to catch me. I think it did more than once. It's stealing from me, stealing my identity. It wants to be me, replace me, twisted version of me. Scratch, Mr. Scratch. It's slithering into the story. Once it's in the story, I have to use it to keep the story true. It got in. I have to make the story darker now. But that gives it power. That's bad. I don't want that. But I have no choice. It's an arms race. All right, now keep it together. Damn it. I'll be the first one to cross the finish line.
این بود از ویدیوی امروز امیدوارم که خوشتون اومده باشه اگه خوشتون اومد ممنون میشم که با لایک کردن ویدیو کامنت گذاشتن و ساب کردن کانالم انرژی بدید دوستون دارم زیاد مراقب خودتون باشید و تا ویدیو بعدی بدرود
Brand new beach, there's some brand new friends. Got a brand new bag, hold on. And some brand new ends, hold on. Got a brand new, that's a brand new Benz, hold on. Got a brand